During the first decade of the 21st century, urban planners have introduced new concepts and strategies to design sustainable cities. By the end of that decade, the idea of smart and eco-cities has become a reality and a goal that some world capitals have reached or are about to reach. In contrast with classical urban planning methods, town planning has nowadays focused on sustainability, improvement of life quality, and social aspects. The planning of the town focuses more on the user and the sense of community. Large-scale strategies are nowadays combined with human scale and adaptability. The improvement of life quality has to deal now with concepts as low air pollution levels, green areas, good public transport networks, bike-friendly cities, and outdoor sports, amongst others. Urban and regional planners use their professional skills to serve communities facing social, economic, environmental, and cultural challenges by helping community residents to develop ways to preserve and enhance their quality of life, find methods to protect their natural and built environment, identify policies to promote equity and equality, structure programs to improve services to disadvantaged communities, and determine methods to deal effectively with growth and development of all kinds. According to the UN Habitat, in the past 4 decades, cities around the world have had to face economic, social, and environmental challenges, as well as fast urban changes such as rapid population growth and social-spatial changes. These factors have had a significant impact on urban areas in the developing countries. As of today, around 75% of the global population growth is concentrated in developing countries. Nearly 40% live in cities. This is expected to reach 52% by 2020 and eventually 67% by 2050. Such changes are affecting the areas of economy, social condition, and environment. Economic uncertainties and the competition in the attraction of investors are the major results of these changes. Since Nigeria discovered oil in the 1950s, the country's economy has been substantially unstable, most probably a product of its overdependence on oil revenues, the volatility of its production, and fluctuation in international oil price. Not to forget the inability of the country to invest sufficiently in infrastructure, a situation that has led the present-day Nigeria economy into recession and calls for urgent attention and diversification of the Nigerian economy to cushion the effect of its lost earnings. If we are serious about growing our economy, perhaps it's time to make cities more efficient. This is Minna, a city in west-central Nigeria. It's the capital of Niger State, one of Nigeria's 36 federal states. It is here at the Federal University of Technology Minna. Students of the Urban and Regional Planning Department are beginning to think of new and innovative ways to plan and design new effective and workable African cities that are not only sustainable but will also attract local and foreign investment. By applying the concept and principles of new urbanism, smart technology, mass housing and transportation, walkability, and a whole lot more to design a high street model for the city of Minna. The High Street, also known as High Road, is a metonym for the concept of the primary business street of towns or cities, especially in the United Kingdom and Commonwealth of Nations. At the head of all this is Professor Mustapha Zubairu.
I'm an architect planner by profession and a professor of urban planning, Department of Urban and Regional Planning, Federal University of Technology Minna, and the director of its Center for Human Settlement and Urban Development. What we have been doing over the last few years really is to begin to teach our students new ways we must begin to plan our cities for them to continue to be as efficient as they need to be, for us to be able to get them to perform to the optimum. The truth about our cities is that in terms of size, we only occupy about 2% of the land area of our countries. So Basically, I'm talking about Niger State. If you look at all the 4 cities, Suleja, Kwantagora, Bida, and Minna, put all the areas, the land together, it's no more than 2% of the total land called Niger State. But unfortunately, these cities, they generate more close to 70% of the income, GDP of the state. Thirdly, they consume close to 60% of the energy of the city. And lastly, they generate close to 70% of the waste of the country. So really, it's in our own best interest to ensure that the cities operate at the optimum, and to again ensure that we minimize the waste they generate. Because without our ability to control the waste, we are likely going to continue to have problems that may really, if you like, impinge on the survival of the total ecosystem itself, of which we are a part. And that's why looking at reimagining our cities has become an imperative. Because first of all, urbanization is something we have to accept as individuals. All the records, the last 5-10 years generated by UN Habitat and all related agencies of the world are showing that our cities are urbanizing a lot faster than we imagine. In fact, this century has been described as a century of the cities. So the bulk of the problem we'll be dealing with will be in our cities. And that's why getting the most out of our cities in the face of dwindling resources is probably one imaginative way of doing it. So one of the projects we did last session was to take a look at Minna itself. The Vosso Road is one of the most famous roads in Minna, and is a commercial street of the city, and it contains quite a lot of other equally important resources. So we thought, why don't we make the effort of showing that it's possible to rework Vosso Road. In fact, we chose the area starting from the city gate by Doko Hotel to the city gate at Tudun Fulani, to say, reimagine how to reconfigure this part of the city, and see if it's possible to create a newer, much more efficient, much more functional part of the city that is capable of attracting not only investment within the country, but investment from all parts of the world for its development and its management. So that is what we set out to achieve from the point of view of the redevelopment of that part of the street, which we tagged as the new high street of Minna, similar to the high streets you find in most of these European countries, especially the famous one, high streets in London.
We were assigned with the responsibility of working on a high street. Our case study, which we used in the task, was Minna. While we were saddled with this responsibility, we were categorized into groups to work on Minna High Street. Population is increasing. Developed countries are moving forward towards industrialization, urbanization, and we also had to make a replica, a case study here in Nigeria. So we chose Minna. Smart cities are cities that are driven by technology. Even if we have the human touch, it is mostly driven by technology. So basically, what we intend to do is to make Minna a smart city, as smart as Tokyo, as smart as Dubai, as smart as Oxford.
Smart parking, a system where we have a technology that will take more vehicles into one space and leaving more space on ground for other activities to be carried on. I'm walking along the street of Minna. I should be looking at shops by my side that I can just go in and get something. I should be looking at vegetations that we cover, because Minna is very hot, believe you me, it's very hot. I should be looking at vegetations that will cover and sitting areas that I will just sit and relax.
Stretching from one end of the city to the other, the proposed high street will house, amongst other facilities, offices and retail complexes, hotels, indoor and outdoor restaurants, galleries, cinema complex, high-rise residential buildings, smart parking systems, tram, rail and bus transportation system. The proposed high street will also be self-sufficient enough to generate its own power using solar energy. An enormous project, no doubt. The Minna High Street will attract huge financial implications. So who bears the cost?
When you design the city, you boost the economy of the cities, because you get investors into the cities that will come and invest in the cities. Now, there are investors everywhere, there are investors around the world, and they're looking for opportunities. So that's where the government comes in. The government creates the enabling environment. It creates the opportunities for private and foreign investors to come in and come and invest in the cities and make the cities workable and make the city a place which can generate income for not just the city alone, but also for people that live in the city.
Well, if you are able to bring in investors to develop all the commercial facilities that can attract commercial facilities and housing facilities, recreational facilities that are not only nationally but globally attractive, then obviously people will come and use these facilities from all over the world, and the city will be better for it. This is the whole idea actually of doing that is important, and advertising the ideas so that investors can come from all parts of the world to participate in the development and management of this part of the city. That's one way of growing the city, and it's proven to be extremely viable in very many parts of the world. And I think time has come for us to begin to imbibe some of these concepts and ideas here. You know, the truth is, ultimately, each city must seek to operate on a self-sustaining basis. It means that the government must be in a position to finance the services it provides to the people. And the vast majority of the people should be able to pay not equal share, but equitable share of the cost of providing the service. So on the balance, the city must operate in a sensible manner so that people know what the government is doing. Government is transparent and accountable, and the people are given the opportunity to feel a sense of ownership and the responsibility to support government to pay for some of the services. Okay, it may mean because of the high percentage of people who are poor, to simultaneously try to empower these people so that they are able to pay for their services. But that's the story we must learn to tell for our cities. Otherwise, it's going to continue to be a problem. The governments are progressively overwhelmed. The sad aspect of it is that over the last 10 years, if you observe, the bulk of our governments tend to rely more on allocation from the federation account. Today, only Lagos is the only state that generates about 25 billion naira a month internally. All the other states are struggling, but I know there are a lot of creativity coming up in very many states that I know of. And I know Niger State is thinking about it. So there is a tremendous opportunity to generate a lot more revenue internally. But in my view, that has to be tied to the ability of government to deliver the kind of service people are interested in and engage the people constructively in the provision of this service, so that people can become able to pay their own equitable share of the cost of service provision. If the city, we all feel a sense of ownership of the city, if we all feel a proprietary pride in the city, then the basis for calling the city our own will have been established. Then our willingness and ability to pay for some of these services will have been sufficiently enhanced. That's the kind of partnership the government must seek to establish with the people, for the city to hope to begin to operate on a self-sustaining basis. That is possible. It's already beginning to happen and manifest themselves in very many cities. The knowledge and the skills required to achieve that is probably one of the key issues the government has to find a way of addressing as soon as possible within the shortest possible time. Like I said, the signs are very good. There are a few states that one has been to that are showing this promise of really beginning to turn that situation around. while the government does everything, a lot of people themselves are now beginning to play their own part, not only in determining what is supposed to be done, but in willingness and ability to pay their own fair share of the cost of provision of service, so that the city can be the city for all, not the city for a few people. This is a story I think our cities must seek to tell of themselves in this century.
It is time we make our economy more efficient, generating more economic value with the same inputs. And one way to do this is to improve the productivity of our cities in various ways, including better land use, beefed up infrastructure, and smarter technology.